that. Didn't
No
realize
worries.
we had some neighbors over for dinner, so
That's nice.
grilled out. Yeah.
You're not ditching early, are you?
No. We were just finishing up,
Okay.
so that's why it gave us the extra hour to buffer.
Good idea. Okay. Because if it's still going on, go do that. We can do podcast can wait. So
Oh no, we were literally just finishing up.
okay. Oh.
Good food though. Some pork chops,
Ooh.
some teriyaki pork chops.
Pork chops are a fine art, I feel.
No, it can be good or bad.
Yeah. Like it's hard to make sure that they don't dry out.
Nah, but ours turned out pretty all right.
That's good.
Felt that we marinated them. Oh,
Oh.
oh.
What? So you've been up to anything fun this past week, or?
Recently, not really. Had been meeting up with some friends every now and then. We went walking, did some dinner, but pretty low key overall.
Sounds pretty nice.
What about you?
Just working.
Just working on that payday grind.
Ooh, yeah, I need to sign that thing that my apartment has so I can go back to the gym. Although that might not be a good idea. So maybe
Now their gyms are kind of open again.
Well, I'm not sure they should be. Is the thing. It's not like it's getting better.
Hey. Yeah, we'll see.
Just because it's been a long time since it started doesn't mean it's over. You know.
Right.
I feel like a lot of people are just like, well, it's been long enough. It should be fine now. It's like, no, that's not how it works. Well, what do you mean? The fire department, I called the fire department 15 minutes ago, and they've been here for about 5. And, there's a lot less smoke. I think it's okay to go back in the house now.
Yeah, no. I think everyone's just getting antsy, wanting to get out. Obviously, a lot of people are getting out with the protests and such. Like, things like restaurants and gyms are opening back up.
Yeah.
So, wave 2, here we come. Fall 2020.
Oh, I need to start. I've got a weight thing here I should use. But I haven't been.
Yeah. What, like a 10-pounder?
I think it's 20.
Ooh.
I should be using that, but
Always up with dumbbells.
I've been lazy.
It's easier just to not do it than to eat food.
Well, that's the good thing, at least. I've been eating a lot less. But I'm also not working out, so.
So, tit for that, tat.
Yeah. I mean, I'm biking, but that's only when I telework. And that's not so much now.
Okay. Have we gone live yet?
Yeah.
For some reason wasn't showing up on my Oh, there it is. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just double checking.
I went live a while ago.
Oh. I hope I didn't say anything too embarrassing about the Christmas party.
It's the photo.
But yeah, had some nice succulent meals. We had these like jalapeno poppers wrapped in bacon.
Ooh, that sounds good.
Put them on the grill. Then my neighbor was busting out some quality whiskey.
Ooh.
He's like, "This is better than Maker's Mark." I go, "Okay, well there we go. That is my standard for whiskey, thanks to Matt." So,
was it better?
I think so. I liked it more, at least, but it was a lot more expensive. I think it was called
Maker's Mark is pretty dang expensive.
Yeah, this was called like Horsefield, I think. Horse Soldier.
Don't ask me. I don't know anything about whiskey.
Nah, I don't either. But it was good. was quality drink.
That's good. I need to get some more wine, I think.
Ooh, what kind of wine? You're starting to go for the more expensive stuff?
No, I want more soft red with lime. It's my favorite wine.
Is it your favorite because it's cheap?
No, it was. I went to Oliver's and I taste tested a bunch of wines, and the one I liked the most was that one. And then I saw the price, and I'm like, wow, it's a 2-for-1. It's good and it's cheap.
Wow. Well, there you go. That's a good coincidence to have.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure the soft red is good too, but I like the lime.
Yeah, I like a little bit of lime.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Well, you want to get on to the album then? It shouldn't be too terribly long since it's only a half hour.
I mean, it's like a 30-minute album. So
I mean, I was looking at that, but because this was, I guess, let me switch the screens and we can start talking about it.
Oh yeah.
So hello and welcome back to the Audio Shop podcast.
Welcome back.
This week we are discussing 1984 by Van Halen. And no, we did not pick that to draw a parallel to the book 1984.
I mean, this album doesn't, so...
No.
I think it was just made in the year 1984.
It was released in the year 1984. Very, very creative there. I completely forgot the point I was going to make before I switched the screens. So,
something about the album being short?
Oh, I was going to draw the parallel. I know I'm not supposed to mention ELO when we're not talking about ELO, but the last couple of ELO albums have been half an hour. I wonder if there's just something about, I don't know, the more rock. Although
all killer, no filler.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, I think that has to do with, especially older albums, is that it's kind of stuck to the vinyl constraints that are very strictly at like you can't go more than 45 minutes basically.
Well, then
and nowadays you can.
Sorry, go ahead.
Unless you want to do like a double LP.
That's true, because that's what the wall was, and that's really...
Yeah.
We haven't listened to too much old music. We listened to Time, which I believe was a two-parter. I'm not 100% certain on that one. I think it's actually 44 minutes, so maybe not.
Yeah.
And then we did... What else old have we done?
The other ELO.
The other ELO album.
Or The Wall. We've also done...
Well, no, the other ELO album we did was Alone in the Universe, which was a 2015.
Yeah, that was a more recent. So I guess you can't really
just
call
kept
it
to 35 minutes because, why not? And then From Out of Nowhere, which is also like 30 minutes. So
all killer, no filler.
Yeah, and that certainly speaks true for this. So anyway, I'll do quick history for you, Coop. I don't know if you know anything about Van Halen.
I'm very ignorant about Van Halen. I've looked into them a little bit, but I'm mostly ignorant.
So Van Halen is composed of 4 band members. The Van Halen brothers, and Van Halen is their last name. That's, it's Dutch. Or maybe from Holland? I can't remember. Yeah, it's Dutch. So Eddie Van Halen and Alex Van Halen. Eddie Van Halen is obviously the famous one, being rated one of the greatest, if not the greatest, guitarist in history, which certainly shows on this album.
Yes.
And this was their last album released with the frontman David Lee Roth as the main singer. They had a falling out in 1985. So this was his last album until 2012 when he came back. So it was a pretty significant chunk of time when he was gone. This is the band's best-selling album, along with their debut album, Van Halen. So it's a very, very popular album, as it has quite a few singles. Now, I will say, even though this is one of their most sold albums, it never reached number 1 on the Billboard Top 100. Any guesses as to why that is? Although you're probably looking at the Google Doc right now, aren't you?
I'm actually not reading ahead, so I do not know why.
It is because Thriller came out at the same time.
Well, that's a good reason.
But also, Eddie Van Halen was a guitarist on Thriller, so...
He was. What song did he play?
I can't remember.
It wasn't Billie Jean, was it? I did know that.
I can double check.
1984 was a good year for Eddie.
It was. Remain There for 5 behind Michael Jackson Thriller. He made a guest performance.
Beat It.
Beat It? Oh, he was Beat It?
Okay,
that
makes sense. Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah. the only one with good guitar work on the album.
I mean, it's the rest of the album has pretty good guitar work, but
it's okay.
Definitely not Van Halen level, but yeah. I guess nothing is.
The singles for this album were Jump / Pain or House of Pain, which didn't make sense to me. I don't think those are two parts of the same song, but that's what the wiki said. I'll Wait, Panama, and Hot for Teacher, or its alternative title, Little Dreamer.
Little Dreamer.
Now, you may have noticed that synth is very, very heavily featured on this album.
I did.
That is because Eddie wished he had used it on the previous album, Diver Down, and regretted making concessions with the frontman and producer. So he worked on this album while building, their new studio. It's like 51500 or something. Their next album is titled the same thing, which is the code for an escaped mental patient in the precinct where they were or something. I don't know.
Oh.
But he was working on this album while building that studio, which allowed him to kind of, work away from them. And he was able to put a lot more synthesizer in this. Basically, the way the album was made is Eddie wrote all the instrument parts and David Lee Roth wrote the vocals.
Which
with some, they collaborated a bit on some.
Yeah.
But, they basically, Alex Van Halen had no part. And they're like, yeah, here's the drum part, play it. But that's.
I guess I can understand why they broke up after this. It seems like they were drifting apart, anyways, musically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Although it didn't say that this contributed to the fallout, so I don't know.
I mean, the fallout happened the year after the song was released, so I'm sure it had.
True. But this was released in like January.
Yeah. Okay.
So 2 years ish. But yeah, that's the history. Obviously, not of all of Van Halen, but. This is I would argue that this is probably their most famous album.
I mean, given the songs on it, I mean, even I, who am not really big into Van Halen, recognize like 3 of them. So,
and even the less famous ones, I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that one. But jumping into track number 1.
Track number 1,
1984.
The title track, right off the bat, right at the start. Or I guess I should say, quotation marks track. It's more of the intro.
Yeah, it's like a minute 20 or something.
And I mean, I guess Van Halen got his wish with the synthesizer out.
Yeah, this is
that's what this song.
This is a great track for synthesizer. It's got like some far out space vibes, really electric. It's one of the big reasons I tagged the stream as electronic music, because holy crap, he does some things that are still prevalent in music today. With the synthesizer.
Oh yeah, it's very distant, very spacey. Mm-hmm. Like the distant future of 1984. Kind of vibe to it.
1984.
Oh, exactly. And though it does lead fairly well, for the most part, I mean, it's all synthesizer.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a weird thing to open a rock album on, right?
Yeah. Well, he really wanted to get it out of his system.
But it does lead fairly well into the second track on this album. Which is probably the second most synthesizer heavy track on the album.
I feel like it's a nice intro, but the styles of the synth kind of clash a little bit.
They're different, but
it's okay. It's an alright transition.
I'd say Jump's like that famous synth line is like so iconic that it works well enough.
Yeah, and
which, I mean,
track number 2, Jump.
Yes, Jump. I mean, track number 1's only like a minute long, so it leads right into the second track on the album, Jump, which is like I said, I don't know as much about Van Halen as you do, but I'd probably argue that it's probably their most famous song, or at least their top 3.
Yeah, I mean, the top 3 are on this album, I think. I think their top 3 most famous songs are Jump, Panama, and Hot for Teacher. But Jump, I would argue, is by far their most famous song.
It starts with this really distinct synth chord line, which if you've listened to any radio, I'm sure you've heard at some point, or in any sporting event.
Its alternative title was Synthesizer, the Song.
I mean, yeah, it's very synthesizer heavy. It paired with the lead vocals by what's his name?
David Lee Roth.
Yeah, with Roth. At least in the beginning verse, kind of gives me lightish Bruce Springsteen vibes. maybe I still just have Born in the USA on the mind.
But I'm gonna have to disagree with you there. I mean, he's got similar vocal qualities, but the style is completely different.
Oh, with the heavy synth.
Yeah.
I mean, Born in the USA didn't exactly shy away from that either.
I don't recall much synth at all on Born in the USA.
Maybe I'm misremembering. That was just what triggered.
It was mainly the same guitar line over and over again and one drum being hit.
Born in the USA.
Yeah, it was that for the whole album, pretty much, Cooper. There, I don't recall there being much, if any, synth.
No, it's like that. You know, that sparkling synth, or I guess it's more electronica. It wasn't the exact same kind of synth, but that was definitely floating in the background.
I'm gonna disagree with you there. This has got real like stadium rock vibes.
Stadium rock.
Yeah. And
it definitely gives me that vibe.
My favorite part of this album is that every single song has a guitar solo, because Eddie Van Halen is a monster and can play anything under the sun. And the guitar solo in this is iconic. And it's got like a great little synth progression coming out of the solo where it's really fast synth playing. It's just a classic song. And it's one of those that's I think is used quite a bit, but has fallen out of, public use for a while now. So it didn't ever reach that cliche status.
It's definitely a very 80s quality.
Yeah.
Very of the time.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I've never been a super big fan of this song.
Oh, I love it.
I know that it's got a lot of its fans. I just think for me at least, the synth line's a bit too repeating, and I'm not like a super big fan of like Roth's delivery vocally. It's still a decent rock ditty. Plus that guitar solo at 220, which is going to be a recurring theme in this album.
Yeah.
When Van Halen comes in proper, it really pairs well with this kind of like frantic synth going on in the background.
Mm-hmm.
Every time he goes on for the rock solo, it's electrifying, to say the least.
Yeah. And I got to disagree with you on the vocal delivery there. I kind of like, he's got a little bit of vocal fry going on there. That's always a nice touch to kind of an out there, maybe not out there song, but certainly high energy. And I will say this is a great song for testing the bass capabilities of any speaker or headphones, because that low bass synth is really far down there. Like if you don't have marginally good headphones, you're not going to be able to hear it.
Oh yeah, and it doesn't really overstay its welcome. I mean, this album's 33 minutes long, and really that's like, it's 9 tracks long, but it's really 8 tracks.
Yeah,
so each one's pretty clearly at the 4-minute mark. So,
and they get in, get out, and get the job done.
Yeah, which I think we can get on to the next song then, if you're ready, Sam.
Yeah, track number 3.
Number 3, Panama. I should mention that Jump is the only single to ever land number 1 on the Billboard 100 from Van Halen. Fun fact.
Which is surprising because holy crap, Eddie knows how to work a guitar.
He does. I much prefer Panama to Jump in terms of singles. Maybe just because I like their when they lean more rock than to more electronic. At least I think the sound lends itself better to that genre. Not to diss Eddie's choice of electronica, but also I think Roth's vocal delivery works better there too.
Also,
I think kind of shows on this song.
Alex Van Halen on the drums is really good at
the
start of this one.
I mean, obviously he's overshadowed by his brother, but
you can really tell how much they've played together over the years.
They're very in fuego.
Yeah. I've not noticed this before, but the main guitar line in this one is almost 100% in the left ear, and then there's nothing in the right ear. There's nothing to balance it.
Yeah, it's mostly the left ear.
I don't understand how anyone ever thought that was a good idea. Like later on in the album, there's a song where they balance the main line and the bass line, and it actually works because one ear isn't doing all the heavy lifting. Also, it's with synthesizer, so it's a bit less sharp, but we'll get to that later. But it started hurting after a while just because the guitar is so sharp and there's nothing else on the other side to balance it.
It's very lopsided.
Yeah.
For me, I didn't mind it as much. I mean, the guitar playing is just so good.
Yeah.
I do wish it was a little more balanced, but I do like the chorus particularly on this song.
Mm-hmm.
The vocals, you know.
Yeah.
It's so catchy, even though it's just a single word.
Yeah, no, it's great. And then, of course, the solo at 2 minutes.
Oh, yeah, the 2:20 solo. And I mean, this one's the thing about Eddie is that each solo on this album's like it'd be very easy to have very like similar guitar solos.
Mm-hmm.
But each one's pretty distinct in and of itself. Like this one kind of ends on like a kind of a more low key and moody note. Kind of brings it down to a bridge.
Yeah, it does a very good job of that too.
It also has that like little section where like a little bit of spoken word by Roth and like some guitar riff sounds in the background.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pretty great little bridge right leading to the last chorus.
Yeah, I really like how when it comes out of the solo, he kind of shows off because he's showing off all throughout the album his fast playing
It's a massive
skills.
flex.
Yeah.
Yes.
But then he shows he can also tone it down and still play technically slow instead of just going crazy.
Right. Which he does on this song a little bit.
Yeah. But it's one of my favorites.
I'm starting to think Eddie's pretty good at guitar.
He is.
Why has no one ever told me this?
Little fun fact, in Back to the Future, Van Halen wouldn't consent to allowing it to use their music. So the tape he plays is Eddie Van Halen. Eddie just recorded some stuff off the cuff and gave it to him.
Huh. That's pretty funny. I mean, I guess it's his name.
Knows it's Van Halen because
because it's Van Halen.
Yeah, you couldn't get mad at him for using his name. So
that's pretty funny.
Yeah. Jump into track number 4 if you're ready, Coop.
Track number 4, Top Jimmy, which is the shortest track on the album besides the opener. At a lean 3 minutes.
Yeah. This one's got a very different tone than the previous 2 songs. It's much more bright and like light, it felt to me. It also really lacked a bass line, at least compared to the other songs we've had.
Yeah, I mean, it's understandable on like that opening where it's like mostly plucking guitars and like a little percussion.
Mm-hmm.
But when you ever get to like the verse and the chorus, especially, it makes it feel a little hollow, maybe.
Yeah, just a little lacking. Especially, Jump and Panama have such a deep driving bass that the absence of that sounds odd. You know,
extra noticeable.
Yeah, when that's the only thing, because they have a fine bass line. It's just not loud enough. I think it just needs to be a bit more present.
Yeah, this one feels a little throwaway to me. Not to hate on it too much, because I still think it's an okay song, but I don't super care for the chorus. And of course, it has another good guitar solo in it.
Yeah, it just goes all over the place and sounds fantastic.
Yeah, this one just really just detached from the song. It's like an awesome guitar solo. But beyond that, it's not too remarkable. Unless you disagree with it, Sam.
No, I agree that it's pretty hollow. The lyrically, it leaves quite a bit to be desired. The instrumental line is kind of, the instrumental line is always out of this world. But the vocal line over the top just feels kind of lackluster.
No, I think I understand that as well. Just though I do like the little ending where it's like, oh shit. That's a little funny, but yeah. Beyond that, it's not super memorable for the album.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just double checking. Matt is saying that the stream is not good, but on my end, I'm watching on a separate account. It seems to be fine. So,
hopefully, we're not having any technical issues. Sorry about that. Hopefully, we're not having any technical issues.
Got a little taste of double Cooper there. Yeah, I'm
double trouble, boil and bubble.
Fine, Matt. I think it's you, bud. No dropped frames, over 6,000 kilobits per second. So, lightning fast. Jump into track number 5.
Track number 5. Drop Dead Legs. This one goes pretty quickly into the classic rock delivery. They got that powerful back guitar with, I think it's cowbell, kind of backing before it kind of breaks open to the more conventional drum-backed rock sound.
Yeah. For this one, it launched into fantastic instrumentals, but they're simplistic. But the simplistic aspect of it doesn't detract because there's a lot of layers. There's so many layers. It's like an onion. But I don't know. The vocal line on this one again wasn't really doing it for me. Like I appreciated when the background singers came in, but I don't know. There's just something about the delivery of this one that didn't do it.
I actually kind of like this delivery a little more than like say on Jump. I don't know. This one kind of reminded me of a little Steve Tyler-esque, a little more like Aerosmithy. Just kind of got that kind of drawn out, emphasized sound, little over the top. But I do like the instrumentation. Like you said, it's not completely complex, but it's to the point. It's exactly what it needs to be for this song.
Yeah. I don't know. Just something about the beginning. I will say I'm very happy with the last minute or so of the song, which was dedicated to the guitar solo. This one really made me feel like, I kind of want to hear a lyricless Van Halen song. Because this solo has some real fancy finger work in it.
Fancy finger work. Oh yeah, I mean it has its it's legally mandated guitar solo at 240.
Yeah.
It really, I mean, it's basically every song. The best part of the song is Eddie's guitar solo. Which kind of shows why it's called Van Halen, right?
Yeah. Well, there's 2 Van Halens, Cooper. You can't discredit.
That's true. And when we get to Hot for Teacher, Alex will have his time to shine.
He's fantastic in it. But we'll get there.
I'd say Eddie's probably the better known Van Halen brother.
Yeah, that's for sure. Okay, it's working on my phone too. It's just you, Matt. You do not have the most reliable internet, I will remind you.
For that reason, Matt's tonight's biggest loser.
Speaking of biggest loser, jumping to track number 6. No, that's not a segue.
I was about to say,
Hot for Teacher.
Hot for Teacher.
Which is the third single of the 4. And, Cooper, there's a reason I've been listening to this song for like
I'm hot for Teacher. This one opens with such this really powerful, I think I read it was like on a double bass drum.
Oh, it's so good.
Which Alex Van Halen's the drummer of the band. Mm-hmm. It's like this 30-second guitar drum solo. And then Van Halen plays over it. Like this really electrifying screeching, just Eddieisms going on over it, some fast finger work. It's like that family chemistry is going together. It's this pulsing energy.
So good. And I love the start of this one because it's almost like a motorcycle starting up. That's what it sounds like to me.
Oh yeah, where it's like this revving.
Yeah,
before it gets in.
Just this very guttural revving, and then it breaks down into the drum solo, and then Eddie comes in. The start of it just ramps you up. Whenever you listen to the song, when I get back to running, this is going to be my sprinting song, because holy crap, there's so much energy behind the start of this song. Which, to be fair, all that energy drops away for the chorus, and it just has such a nice kind of push and pull to it, because you're revving so much with this rise of the song, and then it all pulls away for some kid sitting in the classroom with a little strumming guitar line from Eddie. It's so good.
Oh yeah, and I really like the vocal delivery on this one as well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Roth is keeping up with kind Eddie and Alex's insane energy. And there's also this kind of like funny little skits like mid song a couple times where it's basically them perving on their teacher.
Yeah, not exactly.
Would you like to? Yeah, it's a little dated there.
Yeah.
If you just kind of take it as like it's very over the top intentionally. It's like, will you sharpen my pencil? You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I got my pencil. Give me something to write on.
Or give me something. That's it. So, you know, very over the top delivery, obviously.
Yeah.
This
is really the almost the full instrumental song.
Oh yeah, it's so heavy with the drums and guitar.
It's amazing. And then around the solo.
Oh, at the 3-minute mark.
It builds so well with the drums and then flows right back into the rest of the song.
Yeah, it doesn't feel detached at all. It just like swooms in and swooms out. Alex and Eddie clearly have been playing together for a while.
Yes, I would assume they have.
Because they are extremely in sync.
And it really comes out in the song. I think this is probably the strongest example of their chemistry, of knowing what the other person is going to do.
Did you know there is a third Van Halen in Van Halen?
I did not. Oh, well, that's right. Was it Alex or Eddie's son replaced I don't know what the fourth position was.
The bassist.
The bassist.
Yeah, he is, Wolfgang Van Halen. He joined in like 2006 or something. Yeah. So he's like 29.
Whose son is he again?
He's Eddie's son.
Eddie's son, okay. Oh, that's a lot of fucking pressure, man.
Yeah, I guess that's why he's the bassist.
When your dad is Eddie Van Halen, holy crap.
Yeah, it's like, I think I'm gonna pick up guitar.
I think I'm gonna study math. I don't want to touch a guitar.
Well, I guess he went with bass, so you know that's its own different kind of thing. So
I mean, that's still pretty daunting.
Yeah, exactly.
I can't imagine. That'd be awful. I mean, like, I understand why he wants to get into music like his dad, but when your dad is the greatest guitarist of all time and getting into something resembling a guitar, that's just a
lot to live up to.
Yeah, exactly.
Needless to say.
But jumping to track number 7, if you're ready.
Track number 7, I'll Wait, the 4th single of the album, if I'm correct. And this one kind of brings the synth back. It's kind of been missing since Jump, but it's kind of wormed its way back in on I'll Wait.
And this is the one I was talking about with the split of the bass in the right and the main line in the left. And it actually works really well because for the guitar, that's a lot more sharp sound, very piercing, whereas the synth is quite rounded. At least the filter they have on this synth is quite rounded. And it just works. Thanks, Todd.
It just works.
It's not too offensive to the ears, and they're equal volume, so it balances a lot better than the guitar in one ear and then nothing in the other that we had earlier.
Yeah, it's a little more balanced. And it leads to a good build-up within the song. I personally like I'll Wait more than Jump in terms of like the synth sagas on this one. Just because I think the chorus on this song's filled out a lot more. It's got like a more of an epic noise. The synth and the vocals, I think, work together a lot better. They kind of support each other. At least to like a little more of a grandiose chorus sound.
Yeah, and yeah, I'll disagree. I'm a big fan of Jump, but then again, you put synth in anything and I'll love it. So, and the solo on this one was interesting because it was like it was at the far end of like a long hallway. There was that very bright synth that came up as well to kind of complement the solo. That worked very nicely.
Yeah, it's like a more of a synth breakdown almost than like a guitar breakdown, though it's definitely still there.
Yeah,
and the guitar solo is a little more low key on this one.
Yeah, but it doesn't feel lackluster. It's just
it's low key for Eddie, which is still, you know.
Oh yeah, of course. Drawing parallels between Eddie. Eddie's low key is everyone else's fingers are bleeding.
Right. So
That's all I had for this one. This was a bit of a shorter single for me, I think.
Yeah, it's probably the least well known of the singles off this album, but I still thoroughly enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm. Jump into track number 8 then. Girl Gone Bad.
Girl Gone Bad.
And I recognize this one as well.
Yeah, I did a little bit too. It has a little more of a, I want to say, like ominous energy to it, especially at the beginning. Like a little bit of a darker energy to it, perhaps.
I didn't get that at all. This one, to me, really accentuated the know-how of Van Halen up to this. Speaking of the band, not just Eddie, up to this point, they really know how to build a song from nothing to high energy.
Oh yeah,
because they do it at the start of every single song, and it's kind of a similar style each time, but it's also very different. And it really leads into the song quite well with the energy. It just builds up out of nowhere, and it's fantastic.
Yeah. And I think this one's definitely, if there's any song in the album, this one accentuates maybe the Michael Anthony, the bassist.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is his best bass playing on the album. There's this it like just carries the song as like the bass.
Mm-hmm.
No pun intended. I mean, obviously Eddie's stealing the show with his just rocking guitar work over top of it. But I think the bass works very good on this song. Very intricate if you kind of listen for it at the bottom there.
Yeah, and going to the guitar work, there's something about this solo. It was great, don't get me wrong. But it just felt like it was lacking something for me. I'm not sure quite what I was looking for, but it was just a bit off.
You think?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe there was something going through my head at the time or something like that caused me to think that. Maybe I was thinking back to a previous solo. I'm like, this is a bit too similar here and here. I don't know. But, yeah.
Yeah, the guitar solo on this one's probably maybe the shortest one.
Maybe that was it.
And it mellows out pretty quickly. Certainly not the best on the album.
Yeah.
But I think the song carries like a good energy throughout.
Oh yeah,
especially with like this kind of choir-esque vocals on the chorus.
Yeah. It's not a bad song in any phrase of the word, but just something didn't push me to the wow. Eddie Van Halen's amazing at guitar. It was like you've done more impressive stuff on the past songs. I want you to wow me again. You know.
Yeah, maybe not Eddie's best song, but I think some of the other instrumentation, like the bassist, kind of makes up for it a bit, or at least picks up some of the slack.
Yeah, I was just speaking for the solo there. Jump into track number 9 if you're ready, Coop.
Yeah, track number 9, which is also the last track on the album. It's a quick album.
Very quick album. House of Pain.
Is House of Pain. And this one kind of delves a little deeper into like a little metal, a little heavier sound.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. For me, the guitar work on this one felt like a step down from what had been previously.
I agree.
It's not that it's bad. And of course, it's still Eddie Van Halen, and he is amazing at guitar. And this is still probably a very hard song. But comparatively to the craziness of this whole album, this one was just kind of like, jumping to any other rock band.
No, I noted that in my notes that the overall groove seems like a little lackluster. And another thing is I'm not sure if you noticed, but the vocals are mixed like really, really far back in the mix.
Yeah, I didn't really listen to the vocals at all in this one.
Not that Roth's like vocals are like the main draw. I mean, he's a good vocalist, but this one's like oddly like far away. It's almost distractingly so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the solo, I actually didn't listen to the guitar as much in this one because I was kind of disappointed with the guitar work earlier in the song. I was listening more to the drums because, wow, there's basically a drum solo going on at the same time as the guitar solo in this one.
Oh, yeah.
And it gives it a good bit of variation. There hasn't really been that work done yet.
Yeah, if anything, I mean, obviously, even being someone who doesn't listen to much of Van Halen, I knew the legend of Eddie. But this album's giving me a bit more appreciation for his brother. Mm-hmm. His drumming is pretty much optimal on the entire album.
Yeah.
He's never the weak link.
Yeah, and it's really sad that people don't talk about drummers the same way they talk about guitarists, because drummers only really get called out if they're amazing or they're crap.
Bad.
And
or
drummers
they're
don't usually
like
get a chance to be amazing. Not too many songs have drum solos written in, at least for the album version. I'm sure they get quite a bit of work in the live shows, but
I mean, obviously, and it hasn't helped nowadays where drumming is, I'm not going to say an extinct art, but like it's basically replaced with like rhythm machines.
Yeah, it's a dying art, I will say.
Unfortunately,
which is sad because the drum set is one of the most iconic parts of a rock band, I'd argue, and you can't just replace that with a drum pad. But
yeah,
I've complained about that enough in the past.
I mean, drum pads get the job done, but it's kind of like it's too synthetic, right? It doesn't have the touch.
A bit soulless. And I will say we were able to avoid. We didn't get a glockenspiel, Cooper. I think we've broken our streak of God knows how many albums with a glockenspiel.
It would be odd if a glockenspiel showed up on this album.
It would be quite odd, but we did get cowbell, which is the
cowbell.
80s version of the glockenspiel.
It's really rock glockenspiel,
exactly.
Rockenspiel, and the album just kind of fades off on the end of this song. Yeah. It's kind of a weird closer, for this album.
But there's not really anything else that would have worked as the last song.
I suppose it to me feels. It's a little like, okay, it's we're done, leave. Yeah. Right? It doesn't feel very definitive.
I mean, maybe Panama with just the cut at the end of that last chorus.
Honestly, I would have preferred that to just kind of, all right, there we go, we're fading out, goodbye. Though I guess that's more of a product of the time than anything.
Yeah, but that's the end. So very, very short album, that's for sure. So Cooper, what are your favorite and least favorite tracks of this album? Actually, let's just do favorite first.
Yeah, we'll start with favorite. I mean, I don't think it's going to come from as any surprise that my favorite song on the album is "Hot for Teacher." It basically elevates this album to like another level. It's just such a solid rock song. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's got amazing drumming, amazing guitar. I like the vocal delivery. I like the bass. All the pieces are good or great. And just such a high energy song that you can't help but just like really love it. Mm-hmm. And I also want to give a shout out to Panama. I mean, obviously everyone's heard Panama. It's like their second most famous song.
Yeah.
But it's still a very solid song, even after all these listens. Yeah. Very good rock stadium song. What about you, Sam?
And this might be a bit out of character, but Hot for Teacher.
Wow.
It's not like I've been listening to the song like every day for the past month.
Yeah, no kidding.
I don't. There's just it's reignited my rock and roll love, and not that it was ever gone. It's just I haven't been listening to too much of it lately. But it really gets me going. It's got that energy. I don't know. I can't put it into words any better than you did. Just that starting energy really hits it home for me. And it makes me want to re-listen to the song because I love the start of the song so well. Just with Eddie and Alex riffing off of each other. It's such a good build-up. But yeah.
Oh yeah, completely. I mean, I have to agree.
Yeah. So what about your least favorite song?
Favorite? I'd say it's probably a tie between Top Jimmy and House of Pain. I mean, this album, obviously, it's already pretty short for an album. Mm-hmm. So it's not like it had much fat to cut. But they're definitely the weakest links. Like, Top Jimmy is just kind of a pretty generic-ish rock song. And while I do appreciate House of Pain kind of going in a heavier direction, it's kind of weird mixing and like less intricate guitar work, I think, is a bit of a put off for me. And I also think it's a weird closer for the album, placement-wise. What about you, Sam?
I'm going to have to disagree with you and say House of Pain.
Oh, wow.
And it was a toss-up for me as well between Top Jimmy and House of Pain. But I think while Top Jimmy was kind of hollow without the bass line, that's really the only negative part of it. There were some issues with the vocals, which were lackluster, but the same could be said for House of Pain, because they were almost non-existent. And just the kind of downplayed guitar work. When you think Van Halen, you think Eddie Van Halen, you think fantastic guitar work. So it's just kind of a weaker song in general. But yeah, I mean, this album really didn't have a B-side, so I'd say 1 or 2 songs out of 9 is pretty dang good.
I'd argue that maybe their B-side is as strong or stronger than their A-side, honestly.
Oh, yeah, because you get...
Hot for Teacher and I'll Wait and Girls Gone Bad.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, that's the trick of Hot for Teacher is the first track on the B-side, so you flip the record over.
That's true.
That's a very classic...
If that's what they're going for, it worked.
Yeah, that's a very classic technique. Because you can't just have all the shit songs there, because then nobody's going to flip the record over.
You gotta have the hook.
You gotta have the hook, exactly. So what would you... I guess we got to do the rating system. You did it last time, so I'll take a crack at it this time. So here at Audio Shop, Cooper and I have heard of these things called cars. We're not quite sure what they are, but we wanted to make a podcast revolving around them.
I think I saw one once, but it might have been an airplane.
Yeah, and as everyone probably knows, cars are basically music. So that's why it's a music podcast called Audio Shop. But here we rate our albums in accordance with kind of a car scale, you know. Showroom is 5 out of 5, top of the line. You know, a flying car, which is basically just a helicopter. And then you got bottom of the barrel, scrapyard. It's terrible. It actively makes you stupider listening to it, and should probably be deleted from
forever,
the face of the
from
earth.
everything.
Exactly. It's that bad. And then if we go in between, you know, high, low, whatever we're feeling. It's really how we're feeling at the time. You know, a showroom today might be a fixer-upper next week. You never know.
Well, so that'd be a pretty big jump, but...
That would be a pretty big jump, but I can think of a scenario where I could force you to make that decision.
Yeah, it could fluctuate, though.
Yeah. Maybe not that much, but hyperbole.
Yeah. Hyperbole. It gets the point across.
Exactly.
But Sam, what would you rate on this one?
Oh, I'm going first. Well, let me type it in as I speak for time. It's a very strong album. It's got a lot of fancy guitar work that sitting down and focusing on it really helps you appreciate, because sure, it's a rock song. You're meant to rock out to it, but then analyzing it, there's a lot of little hidden things down in the little nooks and crannies.
Intricacies.
Yes.
Intricacies.
But I think I'm going to have to give it a showroom. I think it is fantastic. Cream of the crop. The cream rises to the top.
Brother.
That's different wrestler, Cooper. Come on.
Wrestling.
But yeah, it's I think it's definitely worth the listen. And if you don't want to listen to the whole thing, you can skip. You can probably skip Top for Jimmy and House of Pain. But it's a 33-minute album. Just listen to it.
You've got time. No one's
33 minutes. Right, I guarantee you're going to be in the car driving somewhere for 33 minutes. Just throw it on. It's a very good album. Try not to speed when Hot for Teacher comes on. You're going to want to put your foot all the way down. Don't do that. But it's I definitely think it's worth a listen.
Yeah. I'm a little less keen on it than you are, Sam. I'm still going to give it a pretty positive rating of like a low like new. It's got some excellent guitar work. You come for the guitar work.
Mm-hmm.
It's Van Halen. There's a reason why it's called Van Halen after the guitarist. It's got like a couple ones I'm not super hot on. Top Jimmy and House of Pain, obviously. I've never been a super big fan of Jump either. And when your album's 33 minutes, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna want to have most of them hit well. But I still think overall it's got a lot more good than negative. And the goods are really good, and the bads are like more than like bad. So I like to give it a like new. It's something that if you haven't listened to any Van Halen or any classic rock at all, you should give this a listen. At least the singles a listen, because that guitar work is hype.
For sure. Anyway, that is the end of the Van Halen section, and now we're going to jump on over to Spare Tire to kind of just talk about what else we've been listening to this week.
Yeah, you've been listening to anything in particular, Sam? What's
that
top for teacher?
A lot of ELO while driving to work.
Wow.
Mainly because I have that downloaded to my phone, and plus I like singing along when I drive. I've also been, on the way home from work, I've been usually kicking up my chillaxin playlist, which is I can go down the list. It's King Gizzard
and the Lizard Wizard.
Thank you. Yes. Then a little bit of America.
Oh, good.
And then let's see, going down Ventura Highway America, some Supertramp, some Fleetwood Mac, some Wings, a little bit of the Doobie Brothers, double dose of Steely Dan. Tie it off with some more America and King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. So it's
a solid lineup.
Yeah, it's basically whenever I listen to recommended songs, if something fits kind of the feel I've got here, all these songs have a very similar feeling. So if I find something that fits, I'll throw it on there, and if it kind of sticks, I have Deacon Blues on there. I think that one might not fit as well with the kind of the feel I've got, but it fits well enough. I'll slap it on the end, or I'll usually slap it somewhere in the middle, so it kind of I can get a feel for the song next to ones that I already know, and then it makes it to the list.
Nice. Yeah, I approve of all those listens.
Yeah. Well, what about you, Coop? What have you been listening to?
I listened to a pretty interesting album this week. It's called God Has Nothing to Do With This, Leave Him Out of It by Backwash. It's definitely acquired taste. Backwash is she's a African-American trans artist, which there's not a lot of those out there. But she this is an album kind of her discussing a little bit about religion and how that's affected her obviously life as a trans woman. But it's kind of done through this very grungy, punky hip hop delivery. Mm-hmm. So with a lot of anger, a lot of energy. It's an extremely interesting listen. Obviously not a genre that's going to be for everyone. But I think the subject matter itself is just something that's kind of worth listening to. And it definitely is something that gets the blood flowing. It's angry music, right? Mm-hmm. And also got a very I guess esoteric, maybe the word. Yeah, well worth a listen. She's a pretty new artist. That's only been releasing projects since 2018. So yeah, it's worth listening. It's a 22-minute album. It's crazy short. So you got the time, maybe give her a listen.
Yeah. Very good, very good. Well, thank you for listening to the Audio Shop podcast. We are reaching the end. And if you're just now tuning in and you like what you hear, or at least you like the sound of one of our voices, you can head on over to the YouTube. You go down and there's a big old face of Jeff Lynne. You click that, takes you right on over to YouTube. All the past episodes are there. I still need to upload last week's. I just haven't done it. I'm lazy. Or make it live, rather. It's already uploaded. All of them are there. I would suggest maybe skipping the first 5. We didn't know what we were doing, and we've definitely
it's a rougher start, but I think we fell into the groove.
Yeah, it certainly takes a bit of time to get used to not interrupting someone without facial cues.
It really is a learned talent.
Yeah, and we still sometimes screw it up. But yeah, if you want to hear us live and you're listening on YouTube now, or you're just joining, you can come back here next week at usually we do this at 8 p.m. Cooper had a special dinner tonight.
Dinner thing. So we pushed it back a little bit, but we should be around 7 or 8 p.m. Eastern.
Which is the only time zone that matters. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I actually just noticed that our time says 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern, our description.
I thought I fixed that.
Huh. No, so we're professionals here.
Is it description of the YouTube videos?
And the Twitch.
Well, that's incorrect because I'm looking at it right now, and it says generally 8 p.m. EST on Sundays.
Oh, it must translate automatically. Need it. Oh, anywho, if you want to follow us at AudioShop14 on Twitter, we are there to tell you what we'll be reviewing next. We'll also, if you want to drop a suggestion, we got a suggestion box for things to review. And hopefully you will join us next week.
Yes. And very, very good final note there from ProtoSwarmBot. And with that, we will wrap it on up. Thank you all for listening, and we will see you again next time.
See you later, shoppies.
See ya, shoppies. See ya.
See ya.